Hey, welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Welcome Patreons, members, everyone in between. All super chats and candle sales are highly appreciated. So you can also use Streamlabs, PayPal, or you could just buy a candle at intrepidcandlecompany.com. On that note, let's get right down to it. First, let me say, before we get into Brian Laundrie, there was a shooting in Tennessee today where 13 people at Kroger's were shot. 2 of them are dead. I think one just died at the hospital, but I'm not 100% positive. It was kind of hard to tell. They were just shopping. They just went to Kroger's at 1:30 in the afternoon in Collinsville, Tennessee. Allegedly, it has not been 100% confirmed, but allegedly the shooter was an employee who got fired and went postal. The police have not confirmed the shooter. There's very, very little information on it. They're not releasing anything, probably till they contact the families. We don't know the ages of anyone. We just know that 4 people are in critical condition, 5 people are in non-critical condition. And 2 people are dead. The shooter ended up killing himself, and it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound that killed him. And that happened in Collierville. I wasn't going to go live. I just went live. You love my hair? I think my hair looks horrible. It looks like a big rat's nest. I've been in my car all day. So, that's what's happening in Collinsville. You can't go out anymore. I totally agree, Julie. It's horrific. I can't even believe that. I go to Kroger's all the time. And to think it's only one state away, and just because somebody lost their job, so they're going to shoot up all the Kroger's. I mean, it seems that when the FBI got there, they like swarmed in. But I can't even believe it. I can't. I'm like, wow. Collinsville is actually pretty close to where Summer Wells was kidnapped from, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's around the same area. So, thank you, Jay. So, I wanted to bring you that first. They did issue and when there's more info, I'll give you more info. There's just nothing yet. There's not a lot there. They are really just not releasing anything. Kroger's issued a statement stating, they're so sorry this happened. They don't know how it happened. You never know if somebody's going to go postal. You just don't. So, on the Brian stuff, so they issued an arrest warrant. However, they didn't a bus stop get shut at, that's in Louisville, Kentucky. An arrest warrant was not made for murder. They're trying to get him on anything, and it seems that he may have used Gabby's credit card, or he did use Gabby's credit card on August 30th. So, we don't know at this point if Gabby was alive on August 30th, if he actually used it. But according to the FBI, he used it, and she was already dead. And so they issued an arrest warrant. Will anything happen from that? I don't know. Are they doing anything to get him in custody? Yes. Is there a reason why they couldn't get him for murder yet? Yes, they probably don't have enough evidence. But what they're trying to do is just get him in. And now that there's a nationwide arrest warrant for him, now he's no longer a person of interest. Now they actually have something to bring him in on, and that was their whole goal. I was told, too, that a law firm posted a $20,000 reward. That's also something I was going to talk about earlier, because I'm like, why is there no reward for him? There should be, like, this major reward for him, like $200,000. Maybe somebody will talk. We don't know, but it seems that there was a $20,000 reward just put up for him. So that's a good thing. On that too, before I go to JB, on that too though, I will say that, now I forgot what I was going to say. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Do you think they will tack on Grand Theft Auto charges too? Possibly. If they could, they probably will. This is to put him in jail, exactly, until they have enough for Gabby. There was something, I don't know if you guys watch Law and Crime Network or Michael Baden, but they had Michael Baden, one of the world's leading forensic pathologists yesterday. Him and his wife was actually interviewing him. He was saying that he believes that they're probably going to find strangulation. I didn't know if Brian had a gun or not, but they were saying that it's probably going to be strangulation.
That was unfolding inside of this Kroger. Police arrived within 4 minutes and they...
Okay. So they're saying that, hold on, let me pull you guys up. Where are you? Oh, I didn't know this was running. All right. Hold on. Oop. Oh, now you got me in both spots. All right. I just let that run for now. Oh, there you are. Where'd my JB go? Oh. All right. Hold up.
Can you guys hear?
So allegedly, there's big developments. Allegedly. That's from Brian Laundrie from... Actually, no, let me do it this way. Whoop. You guys over here. Now you see me big. All right. What's up, Anesthesia? All right. So this was posted by Brian Laundrie 27 minutes ago. I haven't seen it. I don't know what's going on.
Hear me okay? I think this might be messed up. So let me go through everything that sort of happened. The biggest news, obviously, is this is now officially a manhunt for Brian Laundrie. Just within like the last 40 minutes ago, I'd say we got official word from the FBI that this is a manhunt, that there is now a federal arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie. The warrant is for use of unauthorized access device. That's the name of the charge. Use of unauthorized access device. And we know that it has to do with a debit card that was used um, at the end of August up until September 1st. A debit card and a PIN number that was used, and they say that it is connected to the disappearance of Gabby Petito. The arrest warrant did not go as far as to say that it was Gabby's debit card, but I think we would be pretty safe to assume that um, that is what this is connected to. So again, the charge is use of unauthorized access device. Just make sure you guys can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay. So this is not like a murder warrant. This is something that obviously they can get Brian Laundrie in on if they can find him, and if he's alive, they can get him in.
So is this, did anyone watch this? Is this like just reiterating what I just told you guys? Because I think it is. Yeah, charge is not for murder. They can't. But I think this is just reiterating what I said already. I'm pretty sure.
And then they can go and kind of go from there. That's the big thing. Okay, so other developments of the day. For the first time in days, Brian Laundrie's parents left their house. If you look back on my Twitter, we got them when they were coming back a little while ago. They left.
Okay, that's another thing. I was on the phone with some Patreons, and I heard that people believe that Brian's parents went to hire Jose Baez because they went for business in Orlando. Let me tell you why I don't believe that to be true. If they hire a new lawyer for their son, that means they know where their son is. If they know where their son is, they can be charged with conspiracy and aiding and abetting and being an accomplice. That's why I don't think they'd hire a new attorney until Brian is found. Just my guess.
And they drove to Orlando. The Laundrie's attorney confirmed to me, the attorney from New York flew into Orlando and met with the Laundries in Orlando. So they had this meeting in Orlando, and then they drove back to the house. When they got back to the house, it was very quick. Luis banged on my window. We both ran out. He kind of got a side angle, which you can see if you go back through my Twitter. And I ran out to the street. He got a really good shot of the mom getting out the passenger side. I was on the other side by the dad. Shouted some questions at them. I think they were, why aren't you helping search for your son? Do you know what happened to GABBYPETITO? Why were you in Orlando? Because at that point, I didn't know why they were. The lawyer hadn't texted me back yet.
Okay, in all fairness, let's be fair. These parents can't leave their house. How do you expect them to look for their son? For real. They can't leave. The news reporters are swarming their house 24/7. Where would you like them to go looking for their son? For real. I think that's being really unfair. If my house was being subjected to 24/7 surveillance, I highly doubt that I'm going to be outside looking because people are going to swarm me. So that's really not fair to put on them.
And they just were very calm, and they just walked into the house, and they didn't answer any questions. So we're still working on our special for tonight. Obviously now it's going to be even more interesting than what we had planned with all of these developments with them.
But think about it. They can't leave Turquoise. They can't leave their house. They went to drive to Orlando, and they're saying, oh, we got a shot of her. I mean, this is a good news reporter, but we got a shot of her getting out of the car. We got a really good shot of her getting out. Come on, where do you expect them to go? They can't go anywhere. They need a police escort just to leave their house. How are they going to help look for them? Think about it.
Manhunt. The special tonight will air 9 o'clock Eastern on News Nation. I know we were talking about it earlier, but it's on most cable systems, so you guys can find it 9 Eastern. If you're on Comcast or DirecTV or YouTube TV, Hulu, it's on all of those. If you go to newsnationnow.com, you can put in your zip code and it'll help you find the channel. And then also, it's going to be streaming for free tonight at newsnationnow.com/Gabby. So check out our special 9 o'clock tonight. No word on the autopsy. Someone's asking about the autopsy. We haven't gotten any new details about the cause of death or anything like that. I've heard about new rewards. I think there's an attorney in town here in Northport that's offering $20,000 for any information related to Brian Laundrie's location. The search continued today at the reserve, but came up with nothing. So thank you guys for sending all of those videos. It probably took me, just while I was waiting for the Laundries to get back from Orlando.
Hey, Johnny.
I was just sitting there going through all of the videos. I probably went through.
Think about it. I know that Brian Laundrie is a good reporter, but look at how he is so obsessed with this house. He is here all the time. We love him for being there all the time, but these people can't fart without someone reporting it. Listen to the way he says it. He's covering the house. He's at the house. He waited for them to get back. where do you expect them to go to do anything? Brian's parents may have knowledge of where he's at. Absolutely. I don't know. Let me rephrase that. Thank you, Johnny. I don't know if they know where he's at. I think they originally knew where he was at. I don't know if they know where he's at now.
I think there is at least a couple hundred. And like, you guys are amazing with your questions. There were so many things I hadn't even thought of. So we're putting those together now to use for tonight for the special at 9 o'clock. We have a former FBI agent that's going to come out here and meet us right here at the house that we can ask a lot of these questions to. Ashley Banfield also tonight will be helping to answer the questions, among other. John Walsh's son is going to be on the show. So we'll have a lot of experts. Yeah, if you have any good questions, you can still send me a video. It's not too late, but it's going to be too late soon because we're going to run out of time to go through them all by 9. We also have our timeline story that we're finishing up. So they weren't. I'm just going to go back over the big news again really quick. Then I have to go because I'm going to be on News Nation at 7 o'clock Eastern, kind of with an update. But basically, this is now a manhunt. FBI says Brian Laundrie is officially wanted now. The charge is use of unauthorized access device. It's kind of a weird way they phrase it, but use of unauthorized access device. Basically, they're claiming that Brian Laundrie used a debit card, and a PIN number related to the GABBYPETITO disappearance. They don't actually say it's Gabby's debit and PIN, but I mean, it appears that that's likely the case. Oh, the Mustang, yes. You guys noticed the Mustang's back. Okay, here's the deal with the Mustang. So this morning, before the parents went to Orlando, early this morning, both parents got into the red pickup and left, and then they came back a short time later. They went to pick up the Mustang from the police department where it was processed. I guess they were finished processing it, obviously. So both parents left in the red truck. The mom drove the Mustang back. The dad drove the red truck back. And then they left for Orlando. So, okay, I gotta go. Yeah, people are just reading through your comments. We don't know where the card was.
They are prisoners in their own home. They cannot leave their house without, I mean, literally, they had to get a police escort just to leave their house. Here, let me explain something, though, to everybody that's new or everyone that doesn't really know me or didn't follow Making a Murderer. I'm going to put this out there so nobody gets confused with some of the things I say. I started my channel because of Brendan Dassey and Stephen Avery, but more Brendan Dassey. I do not, in all the crime that I've studied, all the crime that I've been through, all the crime that I've looked through, my own personal experiences dealing with certain types of people and the court system, I started my channel defending the rights of innocent people. Upholding, knowing the law, because I studied it, but upholding rightful constitutional rights, upholding people should not taint jury pools, upholding the belief that 20,000 people are in jail because of tainted jury pools and jury pools that are twisted and wrong and everything else. That's why I started my channel. That's why I continue to do my channel in crime. If you notice, I don't cover too much other stuff. I cover a lot of innocent cases. I cover a lot of, brief news here and there, or way guilty, like they're guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt. But my passion for crime comes in cases like this and upholding constitutional rights. My personal feelings are removed. I'm not saying go Brian, Brian, you're doing the right thing, keep on the run, although it is impressive. So I don't want anyone to ever take or mistake that I am like okay with what's going on. In my heart of hearts, I believe Brian did it. In my heart of hearts. But I can't sit here and hang the man before I have any evidence. I can't sit here and say he definitively did it without evidence. So when you hear me say things like that or fight for Brian's rights or Brian's parents' rights, because Brian's parents do have rights, whether they're aiding or abetting their son or not, we don't know if Brian is guilty. We don't know. And again, in my heart of hearts, yes, I believe he's guilty. Yes, I believe he killed her. But our system is founded on you don't make that decision until you get, found guilty in a court of law by a jury of 12 of your peers. I think what they're doing to his parents are a bit much. Even though I think they know where he is, it's still a bit much. They are allowed to breathe. They're not prisoners. They're protecting their son, yes, but they're not prisoners. And they're being held accountable as prisoners in their own home when we don't even know if Brian is guilty. Not that we don't know. Brian has not been convicted. And they're treating the parents like Brian was convicted, sealed, delivered, and escaped from prison. And I think it's wrong. So I just wanted to clear that up. And I didn't want anyone to think that, when I say certain things, it meant that I think Brian's innocent or anything else, because my personal feelings have nothing to do with this channel. This channel is about fighting for rights. It's about not allowing innocent people to go to jail. And more importantly, it's about not having tainted juries and tainted jury pools and, dispelling any rumors and facts only. You can theorize, you can speculate, absolutely. I have no problem with that, but I don't do rumors and I don't do bullshit. And I will back up and find out if something is a truth or not. You're not going to see me run with a bunch of nonsense. So I just want to put that out there. I'll probably reiterate this a couple of times, but I just wanted people to understand that. We do have to wait for the full autopsy. And again, I'm not for everybody. Believe me. I see channels with 40,000 people or, 5,000 people in a live that run with rumors, and a lot of people like that. That's okay. That's who they are. I'm okay with that. I'm not one of them, and I'll never be one of them.
Used the FBI didn't give us those kinds of details, but I got to run because I got to be on News Nation, but I'll be on at 7 with an update, and then the big special that we're working on tonight at 9 Eastern. I hope you guys will check it out. And if anything else happens, I'll obviously tweet it. I'm assuming the parents are probably inside for the night. Also, later, I'm going to try to go in the backyard. So the neighbor gave me permission to go in the backyard later and kind of see if I can see anything from back there. I haven't had time yet, but I'm going to do that later. So, okay, I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll keep you posted.
All right. I want to shoot over to my boy. I got to find him, though. Hold on.
speaks volumes to how the public is really gravitating towards this story. I don't know if that person was allowed to.
And now closer to home, the manhunt for Brian Laundrie continues inside the Carlton Reserve in Sarasota County.
Dozens of law enforcement officers from 16 different agencies spent yet another day.
And now closer to home, the manhunt for Brian Laundrie continues inside the Carlton Reserve in Sarasota County.
Dozens of law enforcement officers from 16 different agencies spent yet another day scouring the rough and swampy terrain of that preserve. Sarasota Bureau reporter Allison Henning joins us now live from Venice with the very latest. Allison.
Jen, Keith, good evening. So there is more manpower out here today than we have seen all week. Now, we are told the search crews that are out here right now, they are breaking into different groups and doing a line search through a very specific area in this preserve. People from across the area continue stopping by the growing memorial honoring GABBYPETITO. The flowers, candles, balloons, and photos of the 22-year-old sit less than 1 mile away from the home of her now missing fiancé, Brian Laundrie.
I really hope they find him.
The 23-year-old Northport resident remains the only person of interest in the ongoing investigation into Petito's death.
The first call came out at 1:30. The first car that the dispatch has on the scene is 4 minutes later. I have since found out that as that call was going out, Carville PD did have a car that was on the scene, so our response was almost immediate. Some people don't get on the radio. You know, it's a high-stress situation, and they've been trained, you go towards the threat, and that's what they were doing.
Any children?
Not that I've been told at this point. Probably not tonight. If we get any significant developments through the ongoing investigation, Major David Townsend will reach out to you guys and we'll organize a press conference. If not, we'll have one sometime early in the morning to brief everybody up. Okay? Anything else? All right.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Thanks, Chief.
That was Police Chief Dale Lane wrapping up the latest information that we know so far. Rudy and I want to walk you through a couple of things. Rudy, one of the things I want to talk about definitely is that there are no known additional threats. That's one of the big points that he made. He also mentioned that they are preparing search warrants at this time, and they also want to make sure that no one else was involved in this incident.
Yeah, absolutely. He talked about the size.
Welcome, Purple Sacrifice 3. All right, I want to find JB. I saw it before. I just need to find it. So off the air till tomorrow around 11 or 12? Really? All right, hang on. I thought he was on earlier. I thought he was live earlier. This is horrific. Absolutely horrific. All right, while I look for something,
would not be any worse than what it was. He mentioned the run, hide, fight method that lots of us have heard in terms of the training that we received over the last several years, making this this already tragic situation not so bad. We're going to toss back out to Brad out on the scene now.
And Yvonne, I just wanted to reiterate some of those other points you definitely highlighted the highlights of many of what he also said. Dale Lane, also the chief of Collierville Police, also wanted to note that no children were injured today and no Collierville police officers. Chief Lane said 44 members of his department went into that store showing heroism just minutes after the first reports of that active shooter. They came in different waves into that store, not knowing if there was one shooter, two shooters, how many shooters may have still been shooting. Shows you the heroism that they answered the call in the middle of the afternoon, an active shooting in Collierville, Tennessee, and these first responders went into that store and helped the victims, they helped customers, and they helped employees of that Kroger. Now, I want to reiterate, within the last hour, I did tell you in some of my previous live hits that according to a source within the Collierville Police Department, the shooter was an employee who was fired this morning. Now, just now, Chief Dale Lane did not confirm that, but a source within the Collierville Police Department tells ABC 24 that the employee was fired this morning, and that was the active shooter. We can also report that there are no active scenes of concern right now. Oftentimes in active shootings, even if the shooter is dead, they're still concerned about potential booby traps, explosive devices. The FBI has assisted Collierville police scoping through this parking lot to make sure there are no other potential trouble signs. This parking lot is clear. We do know that this store will be closed for the foreseeable future, according to a Kroger spokesperson, Teresa Dickerson, you just heard from a couple of minutes ago. Teresa Dickerson, clearly emotional, discussing the emotional day this has taken on Kroger associates, several injured, several just dealing with the emotional aftermath of this case. So we are going to continue to monitor this, but again, no injured Collierville police officers and no injured children among those injured earlier this afternoon. Yvonne and Rudy.
Brad, thank you so much. We really appreciate that update. He's been live on the scene all day. Another thing that I did want to mention as well, Rudy, is that this was pretty important. They had mentioned earlier that they had several different scenes that they were working, one of which was the shooter's car that was in the parking lot, and they mentioned that there had been nothing discovered.
hang on. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. It's the first time I'm seeing it. Hang on one sec. Have you guys seen this yet? The actual police report from the Chris person? Have you guys seen this yet? Looks like this was the actual police report from Chris. Yeah, he gave the voluntary statement. Approximately 4:30 p.m., I arrived at Moonflower while standing on the south side of the street. I observed a man and a woman appear to have some sort of dispute. They were talking aggressively at each other and something seemed off. At one point, he, I guess, were sort of fighting over a phone. I think he took the female's phone. It appeared that he didn't want her in the white van. He got into the driver's seat and she followed him. At one point, she was punching him in the arm and free and trying to get in the van. Hold on, there's more. She eventually climbed in over him and over to the passenger seat. I heard her say, "Why do you have to be so mean?" I wasn't sure how serious this was. It was hard to tell if they were sort of play fighting, but from my my point of view, something definitely didn't seem right. It was as if the guy was trying to leave her and maybe take her phone. Not sure, but wanted to help out. I noticed another person he'd called his in, and as I left the store, I noticed a police officer and gave him my contact info. Dated on 8/12 from the Moab City Police. So, at that point, he kicked her out of the van and wouldn't let her in. And then she finally got in. Which is fucked up because it was her van. So, let's kind of take a look at that. So he kicks her out of the van and wants to take a car and leave her in the middle of Moab, Utah. That's not looking good for him at all. Definitely not looking good. Hey, the boss. I didn't use definitely a control tactic. But to even, but it just makes you think. Yeah, this is when they were pulled over. But it just makes you think. So what happened that day? Did he leave her in the middle of the woods and she got killed? Did he, if this was his tactic, what happened? I want to know what happened. I want to know definitively he did it or he didn't do it. There's got to be something. Gabby was punching into his arm as she wanted a phone. But yeah, because he wanted to leave her in the middle. Who doesn't believe you? I don't know. I don't want to hang him yet. Just yet. It's coming, but I don't want to hang him yet. Did you see? Yes. I already covered that. They put an arrest out for him, but not for murder, for the using a credit card. But they're not even saying how much money it was. But it's also why I don't believe the TikToker story that he just gave her $200 for a ride. I'm not buying that. He didn't have any money. I mean, it was obvious he didn't have any money. He didn't use a credit card till the 30th. She said it was on the 29th. It's just more proof that that TikTok chick was full of shit. In my opinion, which is what I said from the beginning. Believe he killed her. It was escalating. I'm not saying no. Crime scene investor said she was not buried because of shadow grass. Okay. Hold on. I want to see if I can find what I watched last night that was super interesting. Hold on one second. Oh, you know what? It's probably in history. Hang on.
But also want to note in that last press conference that we just saw, we saw police officers, law enforcement from all around. So as we've read statements from our elected officials and other communities around the area, they are not just supporting Collierville with words. They are supporting Collierville with actions, and a lot more to learn in this very tragic situation today, Yvonne.
Rudy, absolutely. And we are there with you and for you to help you navigate this situation as we all go through this. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Of course, continue to stay with us both on air, online, and on social media as we learn more about the events that happened today and what will happen in the days and the weeks to come. Thank you so much.
All right, let me find it. I had to switch accounts. Oh, where is it? I don't know what account I was under to find it. God damn it. Here it is. All right. This is really interesting. Thank you, Sensen. This is really interesting.
Straight ahead on Law and Crime Daily. Gabby Petito's death ruled a homicide.
By saying that this is a homicide, that is death at the hands of another.
Forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden gives us his take on the autopsy. And R. Kelly does not take the stand. We head into closing arguments in the Fed Coast.
The nation. A once missing Gabby Petito's remains have been found. Her death ruled a homicide. Meanwhile, the search for her missing fiance Brian Laundrie continues in Florida, with underwater dive teams now searching the area Laundrie was last seen. So here's a bit of a timeline. Last Tuesday, Laundrie told his family he was backpacking.
Pressing on the neck until death occurs. Other possibilities would be blunt force trauma to the head with a rock or an object that causes fractures and hemorrhage in the brain, or shootings or stabbing.
Meantime, Petito's father spoke to
Sorry, if someone in Discord can tell me where I posted it, because I've looked 15 different fucking places and I can't find it. Now I have sound. I posted the Michael Biden thing and I said, hey, check this out. This was a really good interview. And I can't find it. Anywhere where I posted it, I can't find it. And I know I posted it last night. It was Michael Biden and his wife talking. I can't find it. I don't know where the fuck I posted it. But I know I posted it. And for some reason, it's disappeared everywhere. And I don't know what name I was under when I was listening to it. But I have no idea where it went. And I can't even find it on YouTube. I looked everywhere. I looked my chat, general chat. I've looked everywhere. No. That's not it. Maybe. Hold on. Yeah, but it was a video. This isn't a video. All right, since I can't find a video, I will... Oh, you put it on Facebook? All right. What?
Dr. Phil earlier this.
I didn't even see the Dr. Phil thing. Was it any good?
But also want to note, in that last press conference that we just saw, we saw police officers, law enforcement from all of...
That's it. Thank you. I couldn't find him. What the fuck? All right.
And a good day to you. This is the Law and Crime Network. This is the show For the Record. I'm Linda Kenny Bodden. I just want to mention to you, we will be covering the Gabby Petito case, but the trial that we had all this past week, Stanley Ford. He was found guilty last night. The jury convicted him of the 2 counts dealing with the house fires that caused the death of 9 people, 7 members from one family and their dog, and 2 members in another household. We'll have more on that later, but right now, let's talk about Gabby Petito, and I have a very special guest with me. He happens to be my husband, a board-certified forensic pathologist, Dr. Michael Bodden. He's also a Fox News contributor, and more importantly, he's the father of our dog, Tubi. But that's aside. Let's talk about really devastating, serious issues right here, Dr. Bodden. Gabby Petito, found dead. Devastated the country, who's gotten to know her through her van life videos. The coroner conducted an autopsy with a forensic pathologist brought in from 300 miles away and released to the public with the FBI yesterday that not only was this Gabby Petito, and there she is with her boyfriend, the person of interest right now, Brian Laundrie, but Gabby Petito was murdered. It was a homicide, death at the hands of another, but they found, or they did not release to the public, no cause of death. Can you tell us in lay people's terms what this all means?
What it means is that the coroner and the police and FBI, they know that the cause of death is a homicide, is a murder. They don't want to release any more information than they have to. They've ruled out accident, suicide, or some kind of natural death. And they don't want to give away too much information while they're still looking for the perpetrator. The further studies will be done on the toxicology and looking at things under the microscope, and also examining the evidence that was present on the body at the scene of death and taken during the autopsy, which would include things like insects. The insects are going to be a good guide to how long she was dead before the body was.
I find that fascinating too. He's the first person that I've heard even mention that with the bugs and the insects. I never even thought of that.
Found. She's missing for about 25 days as far as been released thus far. And the importance would be to determine if she died a few days before she was found or around the time that she went missing. Will be very important for the prosecutor, for the police, in looking for the suspect.
Now, you said that the coroner released the finding of homicide. That is not a legal finding. That is a forensic finding. It doesn't necessarily mean murder. It could be manslaughter or any of the other crimes. But what's the difference between that as the manner of death and the cause of death, which has not been released?
Yeah. The cause of death is what caused the death. And the manner of death is a classification. The classification is 5 things: natural, accident, suicide, homicide, or undetermined. By saying that this is a homicide, that is death at the hands of another, and it'll be up to the district attorney to decide first degree, second degree murder, whatever they proceed on, then clarifies what the investigation is all about. The most likely cause of death in this kind of a situation is manual strangulation. A male stronger than a female pressing on the neck until death occurs. Other possibilities would be blunt force trauma to the head with a rock or an object that causes fractures and hemorrhage in the brain, or shootings or stabbing would be the way that homicides are usually occur. Most likely, I think, is the manual strangulation in this kind of a situation.
So the fact that they did not release the cause of death, Michael, but they released the manner of death, indicates that there was something clear on the body to the investigators that they saw that said, this is clearly not natural. We're going to do toxicology to see what drugs are there, but we know that it wasn't an accidental overdose or anything of that sort, correct?
Right, that clears that out. But also, the police know what the cause of death is. They know if it's a strangulation because they would find that out at the autopsy by hemorrhage being in the skin under the neck, even if the body has been there for 25 days. There'll be decomposition on the body, and there'd be a lot of animal activities that in the area, but the cause of death would be what the police are looking at and proceeding with. And they don't have to release what the cause of death is yet, and they wouldn't release it perhaps until they catch the person they're looking for, just to make sure that it doesn't alert the person to excuses that he could give.
And indeed, as a medical examiner, you've done so many of these autopsies where somebody is a victim of what appears to be domestic violence here. Would the medical examiner also look at the videos, the indications that she was being slapped when she was in Utah, that there was domestic violence, that she was that he had 2 personalities, some people say, on the social media? Would the medical examiner also look at that to determine whether or not this would be an accident, something that happened at the spur of the moment, such as a manslaughter legally, or does that matter for any medical examiner?
No. The medical examiner, the coroner, the medical examiner, the autopsy starts at the scene. Now, here you have a few scenes. You have a scene where the body was found, that the police found. And there were also scenes along the way where she was interviewed by police, by forest rangers, when they were spotted, the two were spotted having an altercation. And that was by social media. The social media has been, this shows how important social media has become. Whatever has happened prior to the death that is, can be viewed, such as the scene or whatever statements have been made to other people.
All right. I want to address something to Hounds. Hounds, I just thought of a perfect way to put it. If the police and the FBI would have done the right thing from the beginning, I'd probably have a different attitude. If they would have brought the parents in for questioning, they would have brought Brian in for questioning when they knew where he was. I think my outlook on this would be completely different, because my outlook would be, you know what? They questioned him. They brought him in. You know, I think I would feel a little differently. But I feel like this is tenfold on the parents and Brian because the FBI fucked up. It's not their fault the FBI fucked up and they didn't do the right job from the beginning. But since they didn't do the right job from the beginning, I gotta say, you know what? Innocent till proven guilty. Prove to me he did it. Prove to me the parents knew about it before I can definitively say, you know what? He did it. Or yes, the parents are involved. I think that's why I kind of take it the stand that I am to a certain extent. They should have done the right thing from the beginning, and then there would be a lot less questions now. But you can't all of a sudden say it's not innocent until proven guilty anymore because the FBI fucked up. You can't do that. That's where I'm at.
People is part of the autopsy, and that helps determine the manner of death. That's why when they say homicide, they've looked at everything. They don't think that she was suicidal. They don't think that she tripped and had an accidental fall. They don't think that it's a drug overdose. They think right now that they know that it's a homicide, and that means it's either strangulation, blunt force trauma, or shootings or stabbing on 99% of homicides. And they're proceeding on that. They don't have to tell the cause of death as long as they know now that they're looking for a perpetrator. And they want to rule out the possibility of a third party coming. It's so unlikely. But when this comes to trial in a year or two, they want to have all their bases covered, the police and the prosecutor, and they'll be doing.
Excellent question that I'm going to answer. Hey, Nikki. Excellent question. Who said it? Thank you, Nikki. Purple Sacrifice 3. Why run if you're innocent? I'm going to say Brendan Dassey is the first one I think of. He should have ran. 20,000 people behind bars for crimes they didn't commit should have ran. A lot of innocent people run or should have run because they don't want to end up like Brendan Dassey. They don't want to end up like Nora Jackson. They don't want to end up spending 10, 15 years in prison for a crime they didn't commit. That's why they run.
DNA on the body, on the clothing, to see if there's a third person involved, which is extremely unlikely. So if he had an excuse, if the perpetrator had an excuse, I left her alone and she was alive, and then somebody came and killed her, they do a rape kit would be part of what they would be looking at also as evidence. So a lot of work still has to be done. And I think that that the scene always has to be considered because that's part of how the autopsy proceeds and is interpreted.
And indeed, also the van that they traveled in was driven back by supposedly Brian Laundrie over a period of number of days without Gabby being there. Does that become critical to a medical examiner to look inside, see what pictures, see what's found inside there?
Well, that becomes critical to the police investigation because from the medical examiner point of view, the cause of death is most significant. Identification of the person is significant, of course. The police will be looking at that van to see, is there any evidence that she was dead in the van before she was found at the scene? If there's any blood, for example, would.
My sister-in-law told me that when she saw this Bunger sticker, she freaked out because my niece used to, well, before she went to college, but my niece shops there all the time. So they said that they were all freaked out when they saw the sticker.
Would be the thing that would be most important to look for. If there's any evidence that she had died, was in the van, or was injured in the van, and then the body was placed where it was found outside. So that also becomes very helpful, and that also attaches the cause of death to the person who is driving the van.
Okay, I want to talk about that for a second. And Lacey, yeah, they were escorted out in order to go meet their attorney in Orlando. That's why they were escorted out. So here's my other question. They've had the van since when? The 14th? I think they got the van on the 14th. They've had the van from the beginning, from when they, first possible. He wasn't a suspect in all this time that they had the van. So that leads me to believe there's no evidence in the van of her being murdered in the van, which rules out one possibility that he did it. That's my educated guess, that they did not find anything in the van. They have no evidence in the van. Or they would have been able to come up with something sooner and issue an arrest warrant that she actually died in the van or was killed in the van. So to me, that just kind of checks, that's one check mark that he didn't kill her in the van. I believe by this point, they would have evidence already. Just saying. Josie Baez, it has nothing to do with him.
And all these have to be considered not for cause of death or manner of death, but for the prosecution procedure as to finding out and establishing who done it.
Now, we all believe we kind of know who done it since this is a homicide, but obviously defense attorneys like me sometimes come in and point to other people. So what you're saying is that you have to exclude that as good police investigation now. But let me go to something that really, I feel for the parents here of this young woman, the step-parents and the actual biological parents here. She was found, obviously, some over 3 weeks after she was last seen alive. Was there any hindrance to evidence at the scene, either on her or on her body, that can in some way compromise a prosecution?
Well, they would be looking for evidence on the body, usually insects, for example, to determine how long she's been dead and whether it hooks up to she was dead consistent with 25 days ago when she was last seen, or whether she died a week ago after the boyfriend had gotten home, which is very.
I have yet to get confirmation from a reliable source that there ever was a storage unit or that he ever flew home midstream, mid-trip. I have not gotten any reliable confirmation on that. I still believe it's a rumor that he never flew home. A storage unit, I have not seen anything concrete that backs that up. I've only seen bullshit. I have not seen any reputable reporter report that to be true.
Very unlikely, but all of these would be taken into account. And one of the things I think it's important is how important mental health evaluation is, both at the time that she was interviewed by the police. Mental health worker is in a better position than a police officer to determine how dangerous the domestic violence is. And that's also true when we see people die during police restraint of emotionally disturbed people. Emotionally disturbed people don't obey police instructions.
So, but that's not the case here. But let me just ask you one thing here. The police labeled her an aggressor in the domestic violence incident, and I'm sure they are not sleeping well knowing that now as to what happened. But let's assume there was a fight, okay? And let's just for the moment she was an aggressor, okay? And they got into a fight. In a case, for instance, if a defendant came, such as Brian Laundrie or anybody, a third party came and said, hey, I pushed her in the fight, she fell and hit her head, she died. Would the medical examiner still label that a homicide?
Well, if they can prove that she was pushed rather than that she slipped or had the head injury, in order for the medical examiner and coroner to determine that it's a homicide, they've already ruled out the possibility that she slipped and fell accidentally. They've ruled out accident. Whatever the reason is, whether they have video, whether statements were made by somebody, whatever the scene looked like, if the issue comes up that, well, she has a head injury, but the head injury isn't because I hit her in the head with a rock, but because she fell and hit the rock, she would, the
medical examiner wouldn't label that.
But that's why I think
wouldn't
most
label
common,
that a homicide.
Yeah,
The medical wouldn't label
that's
that
right,
a homicide.
wouldn't call it a homicide. But that's why I think the most common cause of this would be strangulation, because if it's strangulation, you know that it's a homicide. If there's a head injury that could be a fall or a push, they would leave it a bit open right now. So the fact that they've called it a homicide means that they can tell that somebody else did it, and the one thing would be a shooting or a stabbing or manual strangulation, which I think is most common at this point.
So what I find really interesting about what he just said, it rules out an accidental death. Accidental death before I watch this can still be homicide. I hate the way he says homicide. He says homicide. It can still be homicide because you killed her. But I don't think it can, I'm not a forensic, but I don't think it can easily be determined that he hit someone with a rock or they fell on initial look because they just know the head would be gashed in. But I think he makes a really interesting point that we know it wasn't accidental. They ruled it as homicide for a reason. So I agree with him that it probably is, something serious. You can't accidentally strangle somebody. You just can't do it. I've tried looking into the fact, did he ever beat her or hit her before? I haven't found anything. And he has no criminal record. Very interesting, though.
There was manual strangulation. With DNA on her neck, for instance, would there be DNA on her neck, or would the decomposition, assuming she was laying there outside, uncovered, not buried, would that affect any evidence of that, of DNA?
Well, most likely there'd be enough decomposition to interfere with DNA analysis. But even if it was the boyfriend's DNA on the neck, that wouldn't clarify anything because they've been together for so long. But if there was DNA on the neck or elsewhere from a third person, which then it would indicate that somebody else might be involved. But it's unlikely with the severe, if there's 25 days of decomposition in the hot sun, that they would find DNA on the neck. But that's a possibility that they would look for.
Yeah, Michael, thank you very much. Dr. Michael Baden, my husband, talking to us as a person who has experience dealing with autopsies and.
So that was what I wanted you guys to watch because I found it very interesting. I also didn't know. I always kind of wondered how they found the how long somebody was dead. Never even thought the insects were the reason. I never thought of that. That they can tell how long somebody's dead from the insects. I thought that maybe it was some kind of body composition, but no, it's actually the insects. A witness stated he slapped her. No, that is not what the witness said. I showed the actual report before. I don't know where the rumor came from that he slapped her, but that's not what the report said. That was actually a rumor. The report said, At one point, they were sort of fighting over a phone. I think he took the female's phone. It appeared that he didn't want her in the van. He got into the driver's side. She followed him. At one point, she was punching him in the arm, and he tried to get away. She eventually climbed in over him, over the passenger seat. I heard her say, "Why do you have to be so mean?" I wasn't sure how serious he was. It was hard to tell if they were sort of play fighting, but from my point of view, something definitely seemed off. It was as if the guy was trying to leave her and maybe take her phone, not sure, but wanted to help out. In his statement, there's nothing about being slapped. In his statement, though. I know the 911 call says it, but this is allegedly the same person. So how did he have two different stories, one over the phone and one he actually gave a statement to? Think about it. The 911 call said that he slapped, but then when he actually had to put it on paper, there was nothing about being slapped. No, I get it. I know what you guys are saying, but I'm saying that how come, anyone could call 911, and the caller said he slapped her. I understand that. You're not hearing me out. Listen, I get what the 911 call said. The 911 call can be anybody. You can say anything. But when you actually put it on paper, you're sworn by that. You cannot lie. A 911 call, you could say whatever the fuck you want. But when he actually had to put it on paper, there was nothing about a 911 call. When he actually had to perjure himself, there was nothing about a slapping. Nothing at all. That's what I'm saying. Don't think people don't lie calling on, thank you, Allie, calling 911. Because they do lie. They'll say whatever they need to say. And I totally remember the 911 call. He said he, hit her or something like that. I'm just saying, see, Columbo, that's where you're wrong. A 911 call should not be your deciding factor. What people can use against you in a court of law, that's where you don't perjure yourself. And that's the witness statement. They should match up. I agree, but they don't. I know he said he was slapping her. Let me try this again. Listen. But they both have the same name? Probably unlikely. Because the statement he gave was by phone and statement by the officer who was convinced Brian was the aggressor. I was under the impression the witness didn't write the report, the officer did. No, this was, let me show it again. This was signed by the police, but this was a written statement in his words. He had to write that, not the police officer. A police officer cannot write the statement. Only the person, in it, can write that statement. And he didn't write as in third party. He wrote it here. So, again, thank you, Scottish. That's what I'm saying. Anybody can call 911 and say whatever they want. It doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want. But nobody's going to hold against you what you said on a 911 call. You could have been frantic. You could have lied. Whatever. But this is what could be used against him for perjury. And he could be charged for perjury if he lied on a statement. That's why I believe the statement well over the 911 call. Why would the cops tell him change his statement? There is a witness signature. Correct. Not a very good signature, but a witness signature. And then a cop signature. The cop signature doesn't match this handwriting. The insect, Laura, you should watch a documentary called Body Farm. They put dead bodies in a large... Oh, really? That's interesting. First account is usually the most accurate. Not really. What can send you to jail is the most accurate. You have to sign a written report. I've done plenty of them. Yeah, he signed it. I mean, it's not the greatest signature, but he signed it. There was more. There could have been, but this statement, This statement was written by a Chris. I, Chris, give the following statement to officers of the Moab Police Department freely, voluntarily, and without promise of leniency. You are notified that statements you are about to make may be admitted in court. You do solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in the matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, under penalties of perjury. Notice pursuant to Section 76.8 SO4S, South Utah Code 1953 as amended. You are notified that states you are about to make be presented in a magistrate or a judge in lieu of your sworn testimony at a preliminary examination. Any false statement you make and that you do not believe to be true may subject you to criminal punishment as a Class A misdemeanor. So again, this is why I believe this over the call. Laundrie allowing all of these resources to be put in danger in alligator-infested swamps in the dead heat of Florida proves he is the aggressor. Colombo, that is so not true. So not true. That does not make him the aggressor. And again, in my heart of hearts, I believe he did it. Don't get me wrong. I believe he killed her. But just because he was fleeing from the law, doesn't mean he did it because of that. No. Sorry. Very suppressive towards women. It's possible they encourage to change the story. No. Sorry. Not buying it. Give Riley big kisses. Chris needs to speak out if he's willing to lie. Nothing he says matters. I don't know. You're going to agree to disagree on what? Because women are second class. Exactly. That's ridiculous. They have to clear that area because his parents said he was there. Can you imagine if they didn't? That's very true, too. I don't believe he's there, though. Do I know in my heart his parents know where he is? No. I think they gave him a good head start. I would hope that they wiretap the house and that he's in contact with somebody. But if you guys remember, the sister's interview, the sister said that she never heard from him either. That she has not been able to, you give her, mwah, that's for her. That you believe 911 calls being the truth? I'm sorry, I'm going to believe what can be perjured and used against you. That's the truth to me. This written report is a different witness with the same name, though? They both have the same name, Chris? When the cop spoke to the witness over the phone during the stop, the witness said he did not actually see him slap her. Aha. When the cop spoke to the witness over the phone during the stop, the witness said he did not actually see him slap her. Thank you. Can you prove it? Is there anywhere I can find that? Any proof of that, Sonny? Because I agree with that. That's what ABC News reported. What did they report? That when they stopped, the guy didn't, the witness didn't slap her, there were two different people. Hey, Sarcia. Chris, a common name, it's not, yeah. He was probably hiding in that camper. It's an ABC article. It's on the video, I don't know the time. Oh, the stop video? So I'm 100% right then. The guy never, so I'm right. He said he never saw her slap her. No, Sonny just said that I'm right. It's in the video. I wish I had time to play the whole video. That the written report, I've done both. My recall is better. Different witness? I don't know. Hey, Val, I don't know if it's a different witness. 911 calls are always exaggerated. Caller wants to get the police there and thank you. So they're going to say extreme things to get them there. Thank you. That's my point. I don't know why everybody wants to make this worse than it is, but trust me when I tell you, the written statement that can be perjured against you is the most important and the most accurate. I said the same thing, Scottish. He had no reason to call for a domestic. Well, he said in his statement why he called. So Sonny said it's in the video. I think it's the same witness since he said he did not actually see him slap her. It's pretty bad no making it worse. But there is making it worse. Kind of making false statements is making it worse. Because trust me when I tell you, this written is 10 times more important than a 911 call. This is accurate. You can't get any more accurate than a written statement that can perjure yourself. That's what's important. Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey. That's all I keep saying. Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey. Brendan Dassey. You want to know why I think the way I think? Brendan Dassey. Haven't heard tons of 911. Oh, they are. But 911's over-exaggerated. Because they do want cops there. That's not false. Fuck. There you go. The written is where it's at. Thank you. That's what I keep saying. That the written is where it's at. The written report is... Alright, that written report is a different person of the caller. He says he gave the cop his details at the store. States another person called it in. The guy gave the officer details at the scene. Oh, this guy gave the officer... Okay. I see what you guys are saying. Lisa, so you're saying that one cop was saying that the 911 call, the cop may have said to him, did you see us slap him? And he said, no, I never actually saw him slap. I gotcha. Okay. I got it. Now I understand what you guys are saying. The written is where it's... Oh. So, all right. But I do have to get off. I got to go pick Dayton up from his football game. If anything major comes up tonight, I will be back. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll pick up in the morning where we left off. I got to do some candles tonight anyway. And that's it. So, I hope you guys had a good time. And remember, innocent until proven guilty. If it's your kid, you're going to want to keep that mentality. You have to want to keep that mentality. I don't trust anything a man in power in the state of Utah says. For real? They asked GP also. All right. So I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful night. If I don't see you later, I might see you later. I probably won't see you later. But you never know. Something could come up. And I'll see you guys later. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.